All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Crimp Show with a little 49er video as we recap everything that happened down here in Santa Clara on a Thursday, day 11 of training camp. Man, the Niners and the Broncos practiced together, and man, the Broncos defensive line kicked such ass on the 49ers offensive line. 49ers offensive line just got drubbed most of the day. There was no room for Purdy to throw. No Trent Williams and Nick Bonito, DJ Jones, 4 or 5 guys on their front line. Just absolutely dominated the 49ers offensive line. They put a lot of pressure on Purdy. They put a lot of pressure on Jones. The Niners won very few plays when the Niners offense went against the Denver defense. Denver's defense allowed very, very tiny windows. The Niners rebounded a little bit as the practice went on, but the Denver defensive front just kicked all kinds of ass up front. Without Trent Williams, and there was no Trent Williams in an 11-11, the Niners offensive line, which on paper, doesn't look great, right? You got old Trent Williams at left tackle. You got McKivitz at right tackle, who's hoping to make the Pro Bowl, but he's a free agent at the end of the year. He's been okay, but not great. Brendel, Pooney's really good at right guard. The left guard is Barch. He steps in for Banks. I mean, they got their you-know-whats handed to them today by Denver's defensive line, I thought. Denver's defensive line was in the backfield, breaking up passes. There was a number of plays that could have been sacks that weren't necessarily viewed as sacks because the quarterback kept moving, but he essentially was sacked. So offensive line, number one thing today, offensive line got drubbed by the Denver defensive line. In the one-on-one, Sebastian Valdez continued to beat up on offensive linemen. He was great. He abused 74 for Denver in the worst way on one of the early snaps and just absolutely beat him bad. I mean, really beat him bad with speed. Valdez, who's really dominated the one-on-ones against the Niners, dominated the one-on-ones here today against Denver. CJ West had some impressive reps. He had reps where he was neutralized, but he also had some really impressive reps that he won. To me, the big story on the one-on-ones was Alfred Collins, who has not looked very good rushing the passer. I mean, to be completely honest, I don't think he's got much pass rush at all. He's a run stuffer. But man, today against Denver, that was his best day yet in the one-on-ones. He worked aggressively, he kept moving, he kept his legs moving, he won a couple one-on-ones, he showed a spin move. It's like he looks like he's copied CJ West's spin move a little bit. He got both West and Collins got first-team reps today against Denver, and I thought they held their own. I spent more time watching the Niner offense than the Niner defense because that was kind of the primetime matchup. Purdy and the Niner offense against Denver's defense, which is a really good unit. But Collins and West, I think, stood out a little bit. For Collins, as I said, I thought it was his best practice to date. Bradley Anai, one of the Niners' new defensive ends, he won a couple of the one-on-ones. Anai is slow, but he's got good hand usage, and he knows how to kind of free himself up. He knows all the tricks of the trade. He knows he doesn't run well, and so he's got to be good in these other facets, and he is pretty good, and he won a couple one-on-ones. There was a transaction today to announce. The Niners re-signed defensive lineman Mykel who's been with them in the past, just a camp body, and they cut Eli Apple, the veteran corner. So Niners had a lot of injuries up front on the defensive line, Kevin Givens, Evan Anderson, and they needed reinforcements. And Drumfauer was added, but Drumfauer is just a try-hard guy. He's undersized. He's a practice squad guy. Nothing against him, but he's probably not going to make the team. He was added today, but he'll probably be cut at the cut down for Eli Apple. We didn't see any real fisticuffs in this thing today, which is not surprising. The Niners don't typically fight in training camp. There's been a couple little scuffles. Denver, I talked to some of their people. Their media people say that they have had no scuffles at all in their camp, and there was none on the practice field today. But I will say this, the Broncos D-line was sure woofing. I mean, they were really woofing, and same with their secondary. At one point, Chase Lucas and J.L. Skinner had to be separated. They were barking at each other pretty loud, but they had to be separated. That was pretty much it. The rest of the practice pretty much went according to plan. There was no real ugliness or fisticuffs or anything like that. These teams got along and practiced well. Derek Canteen shined on the coverage unit. He made a couple nice plays on the coverage unit. Purdy for the day, because he was harassed and harangued behind his line, was 15 of 26. I'll say the one thing about Purdy, though, he seems to be in really good rhythm with George Kittle. Early on, when Denver was just dominating every single snap, Purdy had one little bootleg rollout where he found Kittle and he put it in just the right spot. Kittle made a diving catch. I mean, it really illustrated how dominant Denver's defense was against this Niner offense, because that was the only little opening that Brock found in the first 8 to 10 plays of Niners offense against Denver's defense. A bootleg rollout completed to Kittle. He's been completing that pass to Kittle on a regular basis against the Niner D. He barely got it completed today against the Denver D. That's how much better Denver is on defense. But Purdy to Kittle looks like it's in midseason form. And then later in the practice, Purdy found Robinson a couple times. He found Watkins a couple times. He found Ricky Pearsall on a touchdown pass that was impressive. And I'll say one thing that's clear is that Purdy's in good rhythm with Robinson, Watkins, Pearsall. He was asked about Watkins after practice, and he said, hey, we can be in even better rhythm. And I think that Brock feels like Watkins and him are missing on the field, but they did connect a couple times, and Watkins has looked really good. Maybe the best individual ball that I saw maybe the second best. The second best individual ball I saw was Carter Bradley, who threw a laser deep ball to Jordan Watkins. And to me, that was one of the best strong arm throws I saw all day. Probably the best throw of the day came from Mac Jones. Mac Jones was really good. If anything, Mac Jones looked better than Purdy today. He was 13 of 16. He did throw an interception, but 13 of 16, and he played under control and on time. He had a deep ball dime down the middle to Robbie Chosen against double coverage. Split it perfectly, dropped it in the bucket. It was a beautiful throw. Also, Jones had one interception, but the ball came out on time. And 13 of 16 and only that one interception, I think overall he had a really, really good day. Corey Kiner, again, showed top-level contact balance. Jake Moody was 7 of 7 on field goals. The big story today were the injuries. Mykel Williams left practice in the red zone drill with a hyperextended knee. He's likely going to be out. He's not going to be playing Saturday night. So you can bank that Mykel Williams will not go Saturday night. He left practice early. They don't think it's serious, but it's some form of a hyperextension of his knee. Jordan Elliott has a back issue. He's going to be out a little bit. Jordan James will be out 2 weeks with a broken finger. Marquise Siegel and Darrell Luter left today's practices with possible concussions, and they have to be reevaluated. So a number of injuries in Ninerland. We did get a chance to see the Niners run the 2-minute drill live for the first time all summer. They normally do that after the media's gone in the afternoon sessions. And they didn't necessarily run it with any kind of precision, that's for sure, but we did get a chance to see it. We talked to Kyle after practice, and he said he's not sure about who's going to play and how much on Saturday yet, but that the starters will not play a lot on Saturday against Denver. He said we're battling a lot of injuries. He said Mykel Williams will definitely not play Saturday against Denver. We talked to Purdy, and I asked him, would you like to play in the preseason? He said he would. He'd like to play a few snaps or a few series in the preseason. He said he hadn't talked to Shanahan about it yet, but that he would like to play in the preseason just to shake off some of the rust. He doesn't want to start week 1 having not played in any live action. Interestingly enough, Brian Baldinger went on 95.7 The Game and says that he thinks that Christian McCaffrey's body, because of all the inflammation he's had in recent years, is just wearing down. And that could be the case. I mean, these guys are human beings, and they can only there's only so many football games in a player's body, and it's just inevitable that eventually you're going to hit the wall. Father Time is undefeated, as they say. So Baldy says that he sees that CMC's body is wearing down. I'll say this, don't say that to CMC. He's competitive as heck. He wants to be out there for every single snap. And as far as no practice today, there was no Jordan Elliott, there was no Jordan James, no Fabian Moreau, and no Chaz Surratt. They all sat out today's practice. Overall, I would say I watched a lot more of the Niner offense against Denver's defense, and Denver's defense kicked the Niners offense in the teeth. I mean, Denver's defense owned the day. They were the dominant unit. The Niners completed a few passes here and there, a few positive plays here and there, but it was Denver dominating up front. The big story today was definitely the injuries. Mykel Williams hyperextended knee. Jordan Elliott's back. The concussions for Luter and Siegel. The broken finger from Jordan James. The injuries were a big story today as well. Had a chance to shake hands with Dre Greenlaw after practice. Great to see Dre, man. One of my very favorite guys. And it was good to see him. Got a chance to say hi to Huff as well. Man, these are two of the salt of the earth human beings and some of the greatest 49ers. I would say the big story today is Mykel. The big highlight of the day was Mac Jones going down the field to Robbie Chosen. But if you said to me, like, what had happened before the team activity stood out, it's the three defensive tackles the Niners have. C.J. West, Alfred Collins, and Sebastian Alvarez, or Valdez, I should say. And Valdez continues to shine, and C.J. West continues to shine, and Alfred Collins continues to get better and better and better. So that's what stood out. The Niner O-line definitely got owned by the Denver D-line. That also stood out. All right, that does it for us. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Crude Show. Thanks to Claudaddy Arcades for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Crude Show on YouTube.